I want to take you back to a really hot Friday in July 2019. That was the day that my business partner Jen and I decided to lock ourselves in her apartment with an endless supply of kettle corn, my favorite, and a lot of iced coffee. It had been quite a year. We had quit our jobs in a fit of frustration, joined a cryptocurrency project that was trying to save journalism, and turned the whole Michigas into a documentary-style podcast. The show was getting a lot of critical acclaim. But then the crypto project failed, and our funding was about to dry up. Advertising dollars weren't enough. So we papered her walls with craft paper, we got out a ton of markers and Post-it notes, and we asked ourselves a lot of really hard questions. Our goal was to figure out our next move, to try and keep building a business that aligned with our personal values. So make entertaining and educational shows, be home to make dinner for our kids most nights, but not shill for companies that we thought sucked. By the end of the day, we had a plan. And a few months later, we actually made a deal with our dream partner. The kettle corn and iced coffee process worked. And that's what this final week is about. Not kettle corn, making a concrete plan. And let's take a moment to acknowledge that this course is just one way. And I want to share another methodology from someone who figured out their own strategy, what works for her for keeping herself on track. Because it's pretty inspiring. Okay, politician Stacey Abrams. She grew up in poverty in rural Georgia. As a teen, she was valedictorian of her school, but when she turned up for the annual state luncheon at the governor's mansion for all the valedictorians of Georgia, the security guard tried to turn her and her family away. And when I interviewed her, she told me that, despite being driven and super smart, no one ever talked to her about how to build a career, especially a career that could change other people's lives too. So Stacey did it herself. And no matter what your politics are, I think there is a lot to learn from her strategy. So whenever Stacey's at a crossroads, she asks herself 3 questions. What do I want? Why do I want it? How am I going to get it? So those are the 3 questions that Stacey asks herself. Here's how she answers them.
I want people to have opportunity. I think poverty is immoral. I believe in environmental justice and social justice. I want people to be able to be the most they can without these barriers that do not exist for a certain segment of our society. So that's what I want. The reason I want it is because I grew up poor. And how I get there is that I'm incredibly methodical. I have identified the jobs that I could have that help me get there. Some of those jobs are in government. Other times it is best accomplished by being in a corporation that I've started. And there are other moments where it's starting a nonprofit that can do the work. I do not believe I have to remain in public office to be effective.
Oh, Stacey Abrams, she's the coolest. Remember, this is the woman who, in 2018, lost her run to be governor of Georgia. But she immediately founded a voting rights organization that got Black and brown people to the polls in 2020 in record numbers. And this was only possible because she had spent the previous decade slowly rebuilding her state party. And that was doable because she constantly reassessed what she needed to do in the short term to keep building towards her long-term goals of democracy and equity. She decided what a quality world looked like to her. She went really big picture. And then now she takes these small steps every day to get us there. That's Stacey Abrams' method of holding herself accountable, making a plan, sticking to it. I'm going to offer you another way to do it.